Hello, everyone. Again, another episode. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. Today, amazing guest, Alan Lazaros. Alan, how are you today?
I'm doing well, my friend. Thank you so much for having me. I want to start with gratitude. It is an honor. And I remember back 10 years ago when I first started this kind of work in the personal development space, and it was crickets. So I never want to forget that. I'm very grateful to be here, and I won't waste anyone's time.
Amazing. Thank you so much for having your time also to come to the episode. We're going to have a very insightful conversation for people who don't know. Alan has a great journey. He's a coach, and we're going to talk about today the first part of three episodes, and today is going to be about business development. So Alan, he's running an university, so we're going to talk about all that. So Alan, I'll pass the mic to you.
Okay, so it starts out tough. I'll give my story as briefly as possible, but I think it's important to
Sure,
understand who you're talking
sure,
to.
sure.
So, it's interesting now. I look, you've got the awards in the background, and I look a little bit like a silver spoon or someone who started on third base. And I always joke, I say I couldn't even see the ballpark. So, started out very tough. Birth father, John McCorkle, passed away in a car when he was 28 suddenly. This was 1991 when I was two and a half, almost three.
Yeah,
I had a mom who became a single mom suddenly, and an older sister who was six. And it was more devastating for them than it was for me because I obviously was very young.
yeah,
And then I had a stepfather named Steve Lazarus from age 3 to 14. And my real last name is actually McCorkle. And I took his last name, I think, around age 7. And him and my mom did not get along, and that's a polite way to put it on a public medium.
right.
And I playfully refer to where I grew up as the Boulevard of Broken Dreams, and I think some people from my childhood might be offended by that, but it's a small town, small-minded town. There weren't a lot of huge dreams necessarily, although I was naive to that as a kid because I had massive dreams.
Yeah,
And stepdad left at 14, took his entire extended family with him. He took 95% of the income with him as well. And we went from sort of boats and ski trips, and my mom drove a BMW to, now I get free lunch at school because our income is so low.
right.
I go from, I hope I get into my dream college. It was WPI, Worcester Polytechnic Institute. It's like a mini MIT in Massachusetts. Born and raised in Massachusetts. And I went from, I hope I get in, to even if I do get in, I don't know how I'm going to go because I can't afford it. It was $50,000 a year, and this is back then.
Yeah,
So I'm 36 years old now. This is when I was 14. We didn't associate much with the McCorkles anymore because we were the Lazaruses, quote unquote. And that same year, my mom actually got in a fight with my aunt Sandy, and we got sort of ostracized from her side of the family. And to this day, I've not seen or spoken to my stepdad or a single person from my stepdad's side. We reconnected with the McCorkles a bit, but not a ton, and it was never really the same. And
right.
my mom's side of the family, I've only seen or spoken to 2 human beings from her entire side. So I kind of lost 3 families by the time I was 14, and that created 2 main things in hindsight. I didn't know any of this at the time.
Yeah,
Number one, abandonment issues. So I became this sort of social coward chameleon who would just fit in. Don't lose any more friends and family. Don't lose any more friends and family. Don't lose any more friends and family. So I did whatever I could to be liked and get along with people,
right.
which helped me in sales, but I kind of lost myself in that. And then the other side of that coin was just this super achiever, just drive and just hunger.
Right.
And I turned that pain into becoming this sort of super achiever, prove myself guy. I got straight A's through all of high school. I got what's known as the President's Award, signed by George W. Bush. It's actually behind me. And it means you basically get straight A's through all of high school, 4 report cards, 4 years straight, 16 report cards straight. And then I got into WPI. I got tons of scholarships and financial aid, fortunately, because otherwise I wouldn't have been able to go. So thank you, Massachusetts and the US. And so I got into one of the best tech schools in the entire world. I became a computer engineer. I got my
Right.
master's in business, and then I was off to the races in corporate. And I was used to being broke in high school and college after my stepdad left, so I didn't need much. And then I went from 65K a year to 85, from 85 to 105, from 105 to 125, and then I peaked at $180,000 a year. I was a global 1% earner at that point, global, not US, but global. And I did tech companies, industrial automation, sales engineering, product management, all this kind of stuff. And I was 26 years old, and that's when I got in my car accident. So circle back, my dad died in a car when he was 28. When I was 26, 10 years ago, I'm 36 now, I got in a head-on collision. My fault. Crossed the double yellows, head-on collision, big lift-kitted pickup truck, dark winter night in 2015. And that was the second chance my dad never got, because fortunately, I was in the safest car ever. It was a 2004 Volkswagen Passat.
Right.
And that was my sort of wake-up call. And that was 10 years ago. And I started a company at the time called Alan Lazaros LLC, very original. What you'll never learn in school but desperately need to know. And that's what you and I connected on is why, okay, I was a straight A student, I went to college, I got my master's, like why wasn't I taught about personal development? Why wasn't I taught about character and nutrition and fitness? And why wasn't I taught about discipline and willpower and all these different concepts that are obviously necessary, and business in particular too? I didn't take a finance course until my master's program. So
in the end, it's all about the reality. Well, first of all, I'm very sorry about all that happened to you in the past. In the end, it's all. I always say that it's not really something that anyone wants to pass through, but in the end, they are lessons of leverage. You get to know the situation by your own skin, and in the end, your brain develops something which in any other situation you wouldn't have. You wouldn't have the same vision you have today. What are you teaching to other people? The way you do coaching is from your real life story. It's something. It's dramatic, but in the end, you are helping thousands of people today, man. And knowing your story, I can tell you that I'm very proud of what you're doing and the way you are helping people directly and indirectly. From people just hearing when you talk, how you coach, how you talk to other people. So it's indirectly too. So, but all these lessons come, I guess, of course, with damage. I had my damage too, and we learn a lot. In the end, it's not about how getting people closer to you. It's getting the good ones closer to you. And this is what you don't get taught in life. When you are in university, it's all about information. It's all about technicality. It's all about mainly learning, but learning process as in technical, etc. You are computer science, like me. So in the end, it's all about technology. But what about the reality? The reality is something that is not taught. Most people today even come out of the university graduation, and when they arrive to the real world, say, "Oh my gosh, what is this? This is we. No one told me that this was going to be like this." So in the end, I think it's something that the education should be at least more leveraging preparing people, at least a little bit, at least for them to know what is the current reality when they get to the market. But first, you need to confront competitiveness. There's going to be thousands of people like you, sometimes competing for the same position. You need to know how to adequate your own skills to become a differentiality, and that's how you outsource yourself and come out to the current society to get wherever you want to achieve or wherever you want to go to your goals through differentiality. If you're competing the same way, in the end, it's like playing lottery. You might get it, you might not get it. So what I always say is find what is your skills, develop them, and make sure that you have a differentiality on them. because
Mm-hmm.
that's how you're going to have the outcome percentage above, current society in any job, in any position, even in life is actually the same. So I think in the end, if we all take that as experience, uh, you will become a very insightful, knowledgeable person. Don't take it as damage. Don't take it as, oh, I shouldn't done that. Well, it's one thing that you didn't took you where you want to get. So you already know. So what you want to do is find out what is the path and the correct path to get where you want to get. You already
Mm-hmm.
know the one, at least one, that's not going to get you there. So that's how I always give this thought to people, because in the end, that's how real life is. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you won't guess what's going to happen in 1 week. You won't guess what's going to happen in 1 month, in 1 day, in 1 hour. So all you're going to do is prevent it. Take it the outcome always as experience, and you need to have a way always to be prepared to improvise.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most skill that everyone should have, and you can get taught with experience. You learn it with life, and that's what makes you a big differentiality from other people. When you
Yeah.
know how to improvise in any situation, you become more calm and you become more wise in defining what is the correct path or what is the correct decision at that precise moment to take you whatever you want to take. That's the big differentiality. Otherwise, you become just noise. It's just people talking to you. They'll say, "No, do this because this is the correct way. Do that because it's the correct way." In the end, you need to get all that in common sense. What is in common sense? You're receiving different information from 20 or 30 people, which will not take you anywhere. So you need to, in the end, learn a bit by yourself, and with your common sense, know what is your skill and how you adapt your skill to the current society and the goals and achieve what you want to get. So you are a perfect example of that. You adapt, you overcome it, and on top of that, you're using that skill to teach other people how them to overcome it. So big clap to you, Alan.
Thank you. Thank you. It's uh, the you mentioned the word reality a lot. I think that that's where everyone needs to start.
Yep.
And and again, earmuffs. If anyone has children in the room, I'm not going to swear, but I'm going to share something that you might not want me to share, which is I think that real growth and development is just Santa Claus isn't real on repeat. And you basically just realize that how things actually work is very different than how people want to believe they work. And whether that's a business or any goal, fitness, you see people at the top of their game in whatever industry, and the way they got there is very different in reality than the way you
Yep.
perceive it. And it's important to dig into how it actually works. And so I always liken it to a self-driving car. A self-driving car needs three things. It needs an accurate current location, self-awareness, an accurate destination location, which is an accurate destination or address, and then it
Yep.
needs accurate updated data on the terrain. And if it doesn't have updated data on the terrain, it's going to think that you're driving on a road when in reality it's a cliff, and you're going to keep driving off a cliff and then blaming the world or blaming yourself or blaming others when in reality you just think inaccurately. So to me, as an engineer, I think that's the root cause. I'm doing a training later tonight on the top 10 reasons why people aren't more successful. I might as well have put people think inaccurately 10 times.
Yeah.
And obviously I have other ones: self-belief, self-worth, all these different things, grit, mindset. But ultimately what it is, more than anything, I think, is we see ourselves, others, and the world inaccurately. And the science of achievement doesn't care about your feelings. The
Yeah.
moment you set a goal, whether it's 10 pounds in 10 weeks or to hit a certain revenue, start a company, whatever it is, immediately everything in your life needs to re-optimize and reorient around that goal in order to achieve it. And then a lot of times when you achieve it, you realize you gave up too much to get it. And it's a whole thing. I get it. I get why it's so difficult. But you mentioned, you don't know what's going to happen in a week or 2 weeks or a month. That's true in the things outside of your control. But there's a lot that is in your control, which is what you say, think, do, feel, and believe. And that's what I help people with ultimately is you can't change the global economy, but you can change what you say, think, do, feel, and believe within it.
Yep.
And you can think more accurately every single day. And I think that that's ultimately what we're all doing. I'm Alan version 3.6. I'm 36 years old. And this is the iPhone Pro Max 16. Compared to the very first iPhone,
Yeah.
the first iPhone was a revolutionary breakthrough in 2007. And now it's
Yeah.
a piece of hot garbage compared to this now. And
Yeah.
I feel the same way about Alan version 2.6 versus me now, Alan version 3.6. And Alan 2.6 was even better than Alan 1.6. And I think that as long as you're upgrading, I'm a computer engineer, so forgive me for that, but you need to be upgrading your software and your firmware
Yeah.
and your hardware
Yeah.
every single day in order to increase the chances that you succeed. And if you want a great life, you have to become an extraordinary person. And it's going to take
Yeah.
extraordinary effort and extraordinary skills and extraordinary development, extraordinary time. And so I'm happy to help any way I can.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, all you said is absolutely true. And about the upgrading, it's absolutely true. With some people tend to forget. With the life routines, they just tend to focus inside the box. Well, think outside the box, because that's how you see the wider vision, what's going on around you. Because if you focus only what you do as a routine, in the end you miss out all the things and everything that goes around you. And sometimes that's the most important thing. And while you get on the routine, you forget about having more knowledge, reading more. What's happening in the tech world or whatever you're doing, people tend to forget that. And knowledge is power. Um, Today and any day, even in 40 years, 50 years, knowledge is always power. You're supposed to always get more knowledge every day and go to bed and say, hey, I learned, some things more today. And that's how it should be normal. And this is what most people don't do. Sometimes even they do, but they don't realize they've done it either. So it's important for you to think, okay, how was the day today? It ended now, so today is like 10 in the evening. How was my day? How was my optimization? What did I learn? And how I'm going to manage better tomorrow,
Yep.
and always better the next day and the day after. And this is how really how you get a better routine, which previous version of routine that most people actually have. And in the end, it's all about the knowledge. What is the trend? I mean, you want technology. There's new technology coming out every minute around the world. You need to know what's out there, what can be interesting to develop people or to develop machines or make them better or make a better version ourselves. AI is helping a lot in this, but how do we integrate everything in it? And this is where is a big gap. Most people miss that gap, seeing past the train, and they don't catch it. And this is where you should catch it. The train does not stop. Either you go along with it and you learn how it runs, or you miss it. And if you miss it, you miss out the whole story and part of your life. So don't do that. Always, get a moment in day, at least a couple of hours to know what's happening, what can I read more about, current technology, what's happening in finance or whatever is your focus. You can be a banker, it can be a technical, you can be a sportsman. It so goes along with each job that you take. All requires more knowledge. Everything new is coming up every day. You should know what is coming. So you use that and you upgrade yourself and become a better version of yourself, as you just mentioned. You always become a better version of yourself because you constantly get upgrading, as you said. It's been like 26 to 36, been 10 years. So you're 10 years wiser, doing thousands of things and getting more knowledge every day from
Every
everywhere.
time. Every time.
Yeah.
Knowledge, skills, attitude. There's a triad: knowledge, skills, attitude.
Yeah.
And I check in with this with all my clients, my 18-person team, 23 clients now. Is it a knowledge problem? Do you not know enough? Because you have to know better to do better. Is it a skills problem? You're not actually skilled enough in effective communication or in Google Sheets or whatever tool. And then attitude. Do you have an attitude problem, which is mindset? Do you complain? Do you think life is supposed to be easy? That's a big. Are you entitled? That's an attitude.
Yeah.
When I coach people, I say I have my absolutely people and I have my absolutely not people. My absolutely people have high humility, inward humility.
Yeah.
They have high work ethic and they are willing to play the long game.
Yeah.
My absolutely not people are people who want big rewards for minimal effort. Those are not my people. And
it won't happen either way. People need to put that on your mind. If you plan to have success with no work, that will never happen.
Never. And even if it does, it'll be short-lived.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of generational wealth, right? I mean, 80% of the globe's wealth is in the hands of people 55 and older. Yeah. And so there's a lot of generational wealth. There are people who are born into families that have wealth by default. And if that's not you, it certainly wasn't me. When my stepdad left, we went from boats and ski trips and we had a yacht to I have no money. I don't know how I'm gonna go to college.
Yeah.
And we didn't have cable, right? And so I had to learn, okay, I went into the future, okay, no trust fund, no father, no generational wealth. We're in some trouble. And if it's gonna be, it's up to me. And from that moment until now, I just did my best to put in as much effort as humanly possible toward my goals and dreams, and I had a lot of mistakes along the way, and I matured along the way, fortunately, and then I achieved a lot of my dreams, and then I realized after that car accident I wasn't actually fulfilled, so then I had to get back to my true essence and my own, who I am, Alan, uniquely, and now I help other people do that. So I think some people are sort of maybe successful but not aligned with who they really are. And other people are maybe fulfilled and aligned with who they are but not successful, because what the economy pays the most for is not always what you value most. What the economy pays the most for is not always the most meaningful work. As a matter of fact, it's often not.
Yeah.
What the economy pays the most for might be something you can't stand doing even though you're good at it. And so that's a whole nother conversation.
Absolutely. And never think that the world's coming to you. You need to go and get it. If you sit around expecting the opportunities to come to you, that will never happen. Because there's a lot of people out there. They think that the opportunities will come to them and the world is around them. Well, it doesn't work like that. You need to know the world and you need to go and get it, and you need to go and do it yourself, and you need to do the work, and then you will achieve the success. That's how it works.
Well, there's two sides to that coin. So on one side you have the hunter-gatherer, on the other side you have the farmer.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to be both. And so I use the metaphor of a house. So let's say you buy a house for $200,000, and then you renovate it, you invest in it, you pay the mortgage, you redo the kitchen, you redo the basement, you redo the deck, you make it more and more valuable over time. All of a sudden your neighbors start to love the house more. And then all of a sudden you list it on Zillow or whatever, and then it's worth $600,000. Why did it become more valuable? It became more valuable because you invested in it. And I think that the same is true for a human. If you want to be a high value man or woman, you have to invest in your body of work. You have to invest in your personal development. You have to invest in courses and books and learning and YouTube videos and podcasts. And if you can't look back at you 5 years ago and say, wow, I knew nothing in comparison, then you probably aren't investing in your brain and your body enough. Yeah. And I always say, people want to live in a $50 million mansion, or they want to buy a Ferrari. Well, I want to be a Ferrari. I want to be a Ferrari, physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual. And what's the difference between a Ferrari and a Honda? The Ferrari had a lot more investment. It cost a lot more to make. It costs a lot more to market. It costs a lot more it's rarer. And if you want to be a more valued human being, you have to become more valuable. And there's ways around that, with status and social media and vanity metrics and looks and Louis Vuitton and all that horse shit. But ultimately, what really matters is your physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual development. And I know someone who's close to me who has a Ferrari, and I said, it's great that you have a Ferrari, but I want to be a Ferrari. And I think that if you have that mentality, then you probably can afford a Ferrari one day. And I actually don't care about cars at all. I really could care less. I'm never going to own a Ferrari personally, but I think it's a good metaphor because why wouldn't you want a Ferrari body? Why wouldn't you want a Ferrari mind?
Yeah.
And it all starts there, ultimately. It starts with you are the foundation of your life. So I build the self, build the family, build the business. Build the self, build the family, build the business. Build the self, build the family, build the business. Every single day, no days off. Build the self, build the family, build the business. A little bit each day, little bit, little bit, little bit. And when you do that, eventually you do become valued and valuable and sought after. So yes, you have to pursue, but you also can attract. But I think it's different than what people think. You can't sit on the couch eating Cheetos expecting, people to call you.
Exactly. It's exactly that. And never say it's impossible. Nothing is impossible. You need to try it. Doesn't matter what you do. If you don't try it, you don't know the result. So a person that says, well, I think that's too hard. Well, have you tried it? So how do you know it's hard? If you don't try it, you don't know. I always say this, and even being successful, doesn't matter if it's family, friends, business, social. I always say you need to get on the rain and you need to get wet. If you don't get wet, you don't know what it feels like. You don't feel the pressure. The pressure, the stress is all part of the environment. You just need to play along with them and control it to a matter that in the end it's all stable, but it's all part of life. I mean, don't think that it doesn't exist. There are moments ups and downs, and all that can be all level. Doesn't matter what type of situation happen. In the end, if you take it on that criteria, you get to a point that nothing impacts you, nothing makes you feel better or worse, and you just get along as a normal day. So that's I record the final stages, and that is getting wet. You got on the rain. Doesn't matter if you do work, if you work out, if you're a teacher, if you're a professor, you go out on the running, you are CEO of a company, you will need to get wet and you need to experience what is to be done. Of course, in common sense, not suicidal. So, but I mean, in common sense, you will need to get that experience. Otherwise, if you don't feel it on your skin, it's very hard for you to know what it feels like and how you overcome it, and to have that knowledge about that type of experience to overcome any other situation. That's all I say to you.
I heard yesterday on a podcast a man, his name is, he calls himself King Dems. He's from Nigeria. It was actually it was a really good interview. And he said, the only room that never gets filled is the room for improvement. I was like,
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And the more you improve, the more you have to improve. And the more you improve, the more you have to improve. And people get nihilistic. They say, well, what's the point? 10 pounds in 10 weeks, what's the point? Well, what's the goal of the goal? So the goal is to do 10 pounds in 10 weeks. We have a fitness community, 50 people, private, just next level fitness accountability group. And there's 50 people in there, and they post every day their workouts. We've got Pilates, we've got yoga, we've got all kinds of people in there. Some of us are weight trainers. I know you and I talked bodybuilding.
Yeah.
And we got some bodybuilders in there too. And we did a 10 pound in 10 week challenge. Weigh-ins are actually today. We have a spreadsheet with everyone's weight, starting weight, goal weight, the whole nine. And weigh-ins today. And I said this earlier, I'll actually read it to everybody. I said, strong work squad, today is weigh-in day for the 10 pounds in 10 week challenge. And I'm excited to see some of you on tonight's meetup too. Just finished prepping. I'll send my weigh-in later after Emilia and I exercise. Remember, whatever that number on the scale says, it doesn't define you. It is just feedback as to whether or not you did what you had to do to win at your own game. If you didn't hit your goal, okay, what can you learn for next time and get back after it better? If you did, hell yes, and what is the next goal to strive for in alignment with your dream physique? So at the end of the day, it's what's the goal of the goal? So the goal is 10 pounds in 10 weeks. Whoop-de-doo. What's the goal of the goal? To become a better man or
Yeah.
woman. What's the goal of the goal of the goal? To be fulfilled and to have self-esteem and self-worth and self-confidence
Yeah.
and self-belief. What's the goal
Yeah.
of the goal of the goal of the goal? To become all you can be, to reach your full potential. People get nihilistic. They say, well, what's the point? What's the point? All this striving and never arriving, all this striving and never arriving, all this striving and never arriving. The point is to see what you're capable of.
Yeah.
The point is to contribute beyond yourself. The point is to grow and contribute. And your quality of life, which is what everyone seems so focused on, is actually a byproduct of growth and contribution.
Yeah.
My team, 18-person team, I was on a huddle last night, and I said, what is your primary skill? What is the thing that you are the best at, that you are uniquely suited for? We have a woman named Amy Lenius. She is the best at connection. She facilitates a great experience. She's the chat master at all of our events. She's going to be at the meetup tonight. She has a little group of worthy women. It's unbelievable how good this woman is at connecting with people, meeting people, getting people rallied around a cause. Some people suck at that. Some people are terrible at that.
Yeah.
So she's like, okay, well, what do I have to work on? I said, influence. There's a book called Influence by Robert Cialdini. Have you read it? She said, no. I said, that is a must. It's an unbelievable book. At the end of the day, if you don't know your strengths and weaknesses, if you don't know your primary skill, if you don't know what you're uniquely suited for, and if you don't know how to convert that in a vehicle in the marketplace, you're in some trouble. So for me, it's coaching, training, podcasting. For her, it's also coaching. She's a next level coach as well. But ultimately, what is it for you? And then what's the goal? Okay, quarterly goals. Okay, what's the goal of the goal? Well, to have a good year. Okay, well, what's the goal of the goal of the goal? Okay, well, I want to have a good decade. Okay, what's the goal of the goal of the goal of the goal? Well, to have a great life. And the quality of life that you want, beautiful home, beautiful car, beautiful partner, whatever it is, health, wealth, life, and love, it's actually a byproduct of productivity. It's a byproduct of skills. It's a byproduct of getting better every day. And I think that we forget that. It's this shirt I bought for $27 on Amazon. Okay, how many people's contribution, in order for this shirt to go from a click on a phone to my doorstep, I bet you it had to touch the hands of 15 people. And those 15 people, someone has to sew it, someone has to box it, someone has to... Now, a lot of that's automated now, but at the end of the day, there's no such thing as something for nothing. And I think that that's where we get tripped up. I teach people success, personal development, and business and fitness. And what I notice is they don't identify productivity as the base of why everyone wants to make more money. Not everyone wants to be more productive. Everyone wants to be in better shape. Not everyone wants to go to the gym. Everyone wants to be in love. Not everyone wants date night. And if you're more focused on the wedding photos than the marriage, you're in trouble. If you're more focused on the outer appearance than your own actual skills, you're in trouble. If you're not more focused on client delivery than on branding and marketing, you're in trouble. And you have to be good at both, of course, but the syntax matters. So for me, it's real world first, social world second. Real life first, social world second. So yes, I'm going to take a photo at the gym later, but I'm going to worry about my getting a great workout in first, taking a picture second. And I think a lot of people have that backwards in the 21st century, and I think that's probably a good insight for people.
Totally backwards. I mean, if you check the amount of hours right now, I mean, I think most devices like iPhone and Samsung have the accountability of the amount of time you use during the day with your phone. So if you do a survey to, let's say, 3,000 people and ask them how much time you spend per day on Instagram, and you get the average there. So
the average is 2 hours and 48 minutes last I researched it. 2 hours and 48 minutes globally on social media, not on Instagram. Social media as a whole. Netflix is 2 hours and I think 50 or something like that. And that's the average. And if you crunch the numbers on that, you basically, I did the numbers out once. It's 22 weeks of 40-hour work weeks per year. So you're basically burning 22 weeks of pay. And then complaining about money.
So this is what most people miss out. If you notice this and you check yourself, how is your life routine, then you find out there's something that you need to change. It's not important for you to post a picture saying, hey, I'm having breakfast, or I'm doing this, I'm doing that, okay? But what does that bring to you? And why would you share private life in public? Which in some point, or if you get certain ethnicity with it viral, it can become a problem to you because people might know too much that you don't want them to know about you, whatever. This, I think we can get this on the next conversation episode because I really had a lot of experience regarding this.
I've been
Um,
doing social media every day for 10
yeah,
years.
yeah,
It has been a journey. I was a fitness coach, fitness model, fitness competitor, 43 photo shoots. I have it all tracked. I'm an engineer, so I track everything.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And social media has been a hell of a journey for me. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, what used to be Twitter, TikTok, the whole
yeah,
nine. And I've been doing it for 10 years. I have almost 4,000 posts. And I can tell you that you can share too much and you can share too little. And it all depends on your context, your goals, your industry, because social media is a great thing if it's constructive,
yeah,
if it's
yeah,
inspirational, motivational,
yeah,
educational. It
yeah,
helps you connect with people. I connect with my listeners all over the world through social
yeah,
media. But
yeah,
it all depends. Are you doing it for significance and status, or are you doing it for a purpose?
yeah,
And is it productive or not? Is it constructive or not? Is it required for your success? And again, ultimately, it all comes down to like, what are the things that matter most for me and my family to be successful? Because you and your family being successful actually makes other people inspired and motivated, and now you
yeah,
have more to provide them, and it's a
yeah,
win-win-win-win-win. The economy is not a poker game. It's not you have to lose for me to win. I can win and you can win. Not
yeah.
everything's a cigarette company where I make money and you die with a cigarette. It's not that. Cigarette companies are that, but
It is. People
not all
don't
companies.
realize it,
Yeah,
but it
yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah. It is 100%. So, but not all companies are like that. My
Yeah,
coaching, okay, I get paid for a service. You become more successful. You earn more than you put in the coaching. I earn and I coach more people and I learn, you learn. It's a win-win-win-win-win-win-win.
yeah,
And that's the way hopefully your life can be set up. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, absolutely. You mentioned one thing that is very important: the content. The content when it's constructed, and that tells about a person. Because a person that publishes that amount of posts, constructive, that is powerful, that are to empower other people to get them developed, it tells a lot about a person. You won't get that with a person that takes photos of the sea or having a breakfast. So what kind of construction you getting with that? So this is what I'm trying to explain to people, that you need to think not only to yourself, but also what I try to achieve with that, right? What is the purpose of having that published in public, and what will that report to you? Is it for your status? Is it just for yourself? So all you do, it has to have a purpose. If you don't have a purpose in all you do, then there's many things you're not doing them right.
Yeah.
Because if we don't have a constructive life, as you just mentioned, and if we don't do everything and all the actions step by step as a construction part, then you miss out a lot of things in life. Because that comes with content, that comes with attraction, and that's how you connect with real people. Because, I mean, we're talking about seriously, this is current society, and there's a small percentage of people, like you and me right now on the internet, small percentage comparing to 8 billion people there is in the world. I mean, there's really a small percentage I consider, for people actually doing real work and empowering other people. And this is needed. And why is it needed? Why shouldn't it be? Because life goes on. Life goes into the next generation. It doesn't stop here. It's not about all you. It's all about what's coming next. What's going to be the next generation. Do you care or do you not care? So that the big differentiality in this society, and now the rhythm comes different to many people, and that's how people see you distant because you're taking your route by yourself sometimes, which is the correct one because you care about people, you care about the environment, you care about the next generation, you care about how people should be well educated to get self confident and achieve their goals in the future. Why? Because it's important. So, what are you here for? If you're not here to achieve goals and to have a better life and to have a minimum grain of apportation to the society while you are on this journey, which is only once, what you're doing. This
Yeah.
is, yeah,
I think orienting your life around meaning. Viktor Frankl wrote a book called A Man's Search for Meaning.
yeah,
And it's one of my favorites. I've read it probably 60 times. And he talks about meaning as the thing that you should orient your life around. It's called logotherapy. And meaning comes from achievement. Meaning comes from growth. Meaning comes from contribution. Meaning comes from helping others. Meaning comes from doing important work that's needed in the world and solving important problems. And that the opposite of nihilism, which is hopelessness and helplessness, is meaning. Because what's the point, right? We're all gonna pass on at some point. Well, you can take whatever attitude you want. You can say, well, we're all gonna pass on. So I remember I called someone out because they were smoking cigarettes, and I said, aren't you worried that that's gonna kill you? And they said, well, I'm gonna die eventually anyway. I said, well, that seems like a pretty stupid thing to say. It's like, yeah, but it doesn't have to be sooner.
yeah.
Why are you doing something that statistically guarantees you decrease your chances of long life? But if you don't value your life, you're not going to invest in it. If you don't invest in it, you're going to value it even
Sorry to
less.
interrupt you, Alan. Regarding smoking, I did commit that mistake during a phase of my life, and again, I learned from it because it was the attraction. If you have that attraction, and people that do not afford you what it should, that's where you get on. You get to the bad road, to the bad environment, and to thoughts that you should have. And in the end, if you are strong, because you need to be strong enough to have the common sense when you are, surrounded by this type of, and you get to see that this is not what I want.
Yeah.
And you sometimes need to choose the road by yourself. I'm talking now for me, and this is what I did. I mean, I had a chase, and I have a phase of my life that I actually pursued everything by myself alone.
Yeah,
Because,
same.
yeah,
Same. And I think that that's also scary. We call it lonely land in my
yeah,
company.
yeah,
And anytime you go from old world to try to get into new world or the next level,
yeah,
there's a lonely land chasm where you're basically alone because you don't fit in with the people before, but you also don't fit in yet with the new people either. You're kind of in this chasm of darkness by yourself. It's really
yeah,
quite scary. And I also committed that mistake for a short time when I was younger too. But ultimately, it was stupid. It was silly. It was unintelligent. And we all go through this phase. You surround yourself with the wrong people. You talk about the wrong things. You think about the wrong things. You don't have goals. You're nihilistic, hopeless, and helpless. You
yeah,
romanticize carefree wandering. Most of the people say not all those who wander are lost. I actually disagree. I think most people who are wandering are lost, and they're pretending they're not. And
yeah,
I've been there, so I get it. But when I was the least fulfilled, I pretended to be the most happy.
yeah,
And now that I'm the most fulfilled, a lot of people don't like me. A
yeah,
lot of people don't like what I have to say. A
yeah,
lot of people, my social life isn't great, right? I have 18 team members. I have a beautiful girlfriend and future wife, Emilia. I am the most fulfilled by far I've ever been. But it's this social world, real world thing. So my real life
yeah,
is incredible, but in the social world, it doesn't look that great. I work 7 days a week, really. 6 are front facing, 7 is back office. I'm working a lot more than most people. So socially, it doesn't look like my life's that great. In real life, it's amazing. Back in the day, before my car accident, it was the opposite. Socially, it looked amazing, but in real life, I was unhappy and
yeah,
unfulfilled.
yeah,
And so a lot of people that are the most unfulfilled and have the least meaning and the least
yeah.
growth and contribution, and a lot of them actually are pretending to be happier socially, and then behind the scenes, they're really suffering.
It's not. It's not.
Yeah,
Most of
they're
it,
they're
I
suffering.
would say over 99% that people actually pretend, at least in social media, that their life is wonderful. I would say between 95 to 99%, not to take it not too dramatic, but within that statistic, most people aren't in real life because
Yeah,
it's
of
really different.
course.
Yeah,
Yeah. And we can prove this right now.
yeah,
Everyone think of, I was in a relationship that I was not happy. This is 7, 8 years ago now. And if you looked at the photographs, you would have thought I was happy as hell. Those were the happy moments that were captured on camera.
Yeah.
And those are what got posted.
Yeah.
But behind the scenes, I was unfulfilled. It was not a good relationship. And now, in real life, it's unbelievably magnificent, even to the point where I dial it down, because the last thing people want to hear is that the most fulfilled person is even more fulfilled, because it makes everyone insecure. But ultimately, a lot of people are putting on a show. Don't compare your real life to their social media.
Yeah.
And I understand, I get it, right? Let me give you an example. The branding, marketing, and sales department of Apple Computers, which is now just Apple, has to make everything look better. It has to look really good. You're not going to buy it if it doesn't look good.
Yeah.
But I have an ex-roommate of mine, I went to college together, and he works at Apple. And we've had conversations. It's, behind the scenes is a shit show at times. And I also used to work at an industrial automation company, and they were one of our biggest clients. And you just got to understand that the film that you see on Disney cost $300 million to make. Half of that went to marketing and branding. So half of it was to make a great movie. The other half was to make it look great. And that's what life is. And if you can flip the script, this is what I did after my car accident at 26. If you can flip the script and say, I want my real life to be better than it looks. Because before, my life looked great from the outside in. I want my life to actually be great from the inside out. So this all looks good. I've got my backdrop, blah, 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 blah. But my real life is actually way better than my social media shows. In the past, it was the opposite. And I do think that that's a thing. Human beings that are insecure and fearful and scarce and unhappy and unfulfilled, of course they're going to show that they're better than they really are. And then the people that are actually really fulfilled don't need to do that.
Sorry for interrupting you, Alan. You mentioned one thing that is very important. They need to show why they need to show. I mean, that's how I always say to people, you don't need to show anything to anyone. I mean, when you actually need other people approval, that's when you're failing,
Yeah.
People should like the way you are, not by being the way they want you to be. And it's a big difference, in the end. It's a similar situation, but it's a huge different one to the other.
I think it's syntax. So 1 to 2 or 2 to 1.
Yeah.
So syntax matters, because the truth is the economy is built on what other people think of you. So if you're a business owner, for example, you do have to make your products and services look good.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
Otherwise, no one will buy them.
Yeah.
But that can't be the only goal. It's like a bag of chips that's only a third full, but it has the beautiful marketing and branding and all that kind of stuff. I gotta jump in a minute. But don't be a bag of chips that's only a third full. Be a bag of chips that looks great and is great. Yeah. And I think that what matters most is who you are behind the scenes when no one's watching.
Yeah.
And what you are when no one's watching. That's the real world. And then you have to also brand and market that and make it look good too. And you do need both, but just make sure the syntax is correct. Julio, I do got to jump because I got another meeting.
Yeah. And feel yourself, which is the most important. You need to feel good with yourself and what you do.
Yeah, 100%.
And with the people around you. It's not about pleasing them. It's about being pleased, to each other. We're having a wonderful conversation, you and me, because we are alike and we have the same environment. So this what it calls equality, right? What is not equality is when someone needs to for you to please the other person the way they want.
When it's not a win-win. That would be a win-lose, right? This has been a win-win. I really appreciate it. I do got to jump. How do we wrap?
Sure. So before we finish, I always ask my guests to say a power message. So what will be your power message today?
My power message is it is your responsibility to design your own future and to work toward it. No one is going to achieve your goals and dreams for you. Yeah. And by the time other people believe in you, you won't need them to believe in you. So 10 years ago, when I started this and I left corporate, everyone thought I was out of my mind and no one believed in me. And they thought I was crazy. They made fun of me, all my friends, blah, blah, blah. You quit drinking, all this stuff. You're a podcaster now, you're a bodybuilder now, all this stuff. And it was really hard, it was really lonely. And now a lot of them have come out of the woodwork and now they believe in me. And I think to myself, I don't need you to believe in me now. Exactly. I need you to believe back then.
I was that person back then, I'm still the same person today. So whatever thoughts you have by then, for me, it's the same. So
it's you versus you.
Yeah.
You have to have it in here and in here.
Yeah.
Long before anyone else sees it.
Yeah.
And it's your responsibility, no one else's. So no one's coming to save you, unfortunately. No one was going to save me. And no one achieves anything great alone. This is what I'll end with. No one achieves anything great alone, so you need a team. However, one person with high standards and high self-belief and high work ethic and high humility and high virtue can make a great team. So no one achieves anything great alone, but one Kobe Bryant, one Michael Jordan, one whoever can make a great team. Because you can set the standard and you can set the pace and you can lead by example. So that's my power message is you can make the difference. You can't do anything alone, but you can make the difference and you can lead by example and you can step up. And if you don't, you're in trouble.
Wonderful. And with that, Alan, thank you so much for joining us today. Everyone that was listening, don't miss out part 2 soon. That we're going to do another podcast again. It's going to be a 3-part episode. So thank you all for watching. Thank you, Alan, for this conversation. I think it was very insightful for many people that we're going to be watching. And thank you for taking the time to share your insights. Thank you for today.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. Part 2 to be continued.
Thank you. Thank you.